I know you clicked on this video and thought to yourself, wow, what a paradox that is. What if there were no what ifs? Honestly, it's a pretty cool question to ask because a lot of times when you talk about sports and you talk about your favorite teams, players, and certain scenarios that play out, you think to yourself, what if? What if certain players didn't play? What if certain players did play? And what if certain events didn't happen that would have altered the timeline, so to speak? And everybody and their mothers have been doing this hypothetical thinking, and these hypotheses have been really, really interesting to listen to. Now, this video isn't really meant to answer the question that I posed in the title because that would be paradoxical. That's the point. But I am going to look at some of these videos out there that we would be missing if this question were to be a reality.
Today, I'm going to go through where I think the playoffs would have been if there were no injuries. It's my opinion. Go ahead, leave your own opinion in the comment section down below. But
don't get it misconstrued. I love B-Souls. He's one of my inspirations for making YouTube content, and he's a cool guy overall. But this video is a prime example of what annoys me about hypotheticals.
Let's talk about what the series would have been if LeBron and AD were healthy. Look, I really love what the Phoenix Suns have done in these playoffs, but with the injuries the Lakers had, the fact that this was a 6-game series with a healthy LeBron James and a healthy Anthony Davis, and even if the series goes to a game 7, I'm not going against LeBron in a game 7. I cannot go against LeBron in a game 7. So, in my opinion, the Lakers would have beat the Phoenix Suns if LeBron and AD were healthy. That's just me.
Now, at first glance, there's not really a problem with what he said because it's his opinion, and a lot of speculation is up in the air when it comes to what the Lakers would have been able to do if healthy, and that's the point of hypotheticals, right? It leaves us thinking about possible scenarios that can happen, and it allows us to role play the oracle that knows all. And the problem really with hypotheticals goes to when you focus too much on it, that it comes at the expense of the reality of the situation and what actually took place.
A fully healthy Brooklyn Nets team versus a fully healthy Milwaukee Bucks team. And after what I saw in the first 2 games of the series, with James Harden not playing for the Brooklyn Nets while the Milwaukee Bucks were fully healthy, I have the Brooklyn Nets beating the Bucks in 5 or 6 games at most. If they sweep them, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's a hypothetical and we will never know.
With takes like these, I understand where it comes from, that the Brooklyn Nets would have been so much better than the Bucks that it really wouldn't have been much of a competition. But that level of thinking also discredits or downplays what the Bucks were able to do during that series. Because if things had been different, perhaps it would have been true that the Brooklyn Nets would have convincingly beat the Bucks. But you can't really discount the Bucks and how they would have played if things had been different. Because of course, they played a certain way because of having only one player really to worry about. That is KD. Now, if they have to worry about 3 players, they would have changed things up. They would have adjusted according to how the Brooklyn Nets were rostered, and that's exactly what led to the Bucks winning the whole thing. The adjustments that Coach Bud made. Although there's a lot of things he does wrong, the adjustments really were key, and you can't discount what the Bucks would have done with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant fully healthy during those 7 games. And that's something that people always dismiss and always act like, the Bucks are just lucky and whatnot. And what team isn't lucky, honestly? That gets this far in the playoffs, you have to have a certain amount of luck.
Now the NBA Finals, man. This is really what we want. Let's just be honest, man. It's cool that the Suns are going to the finals. It's cool that the Hawks might get to the finals. It's cool that Giannis might go to the. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is cool. Like, I'm still gonna watch. I'm still interested. But let's be honest. We wanted a Titan war in the NBA Finals between one of the LA teams, preferably, and the Brooklyn Nets. That is what we wanted to see. So in this hypothetical, we do get that.
And this is the most insidious part to me that infuriates me to no end. When people base these hypotheticals off the expectations that they've had going back to the beginning of the season, right? They have this expectation to where this team would make the finals and that team will make the finals because they're so stacked and so good, and they are, comprised of players that they love, like KD, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and then you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis. And it's really amazing to me that, people always make these hypotheticals when it's something that suits their narrative, or something that, they talk about something they want to see play out. And what's worse is when people engage in revisionist history and, go back to previous series, and say, well, what if this didn't happen and what if that didn't happen? And they sensationalize the whole thing. Take ESPN, for example. They are no bastion of ethical journalism. So stupid makes stupid takes. What else is new?
I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself, though, Jason. One of the things we all love about Marvel is the multiverse, alternate timelines where characters deal with different realities, events, other than our main current timeline. So we thought, what if we made our own NBA multiverse? Is there one moment in NBA history that if things happened differently, the timeline would branch off, our current world would look so different? So, Perk, what is your pick for most intriguing NBA multiverse?
It's days like these where I really wish that Disney hadn't acquired ESPN. Oh my god. What was this gimmick? This Marvel New Heroes thing? You guys remember that? This was so corny. Okay, but besides the point. It's funny that the person she's asking first to give a scenario out is the king of flip-flops himself. Now, to lighten things up, I want to show you guys a video that I found when looking up these hypotheticals that people were making. And this is actually a pretty good video. And it's a simulation in 2K21 that really goes into who would win the whole thing if there were no injuries.
As you guys know, there have been so many injuries this postseason, including some of the biggest stars in the game. And there's definitely no denying that these circumstances have impacted the playoffs so far. However, I've seen so many people try to discount and discredit this year and also put an asterisk next to the championship. Like, this isn't a Mickey Mouse ring. Injuries are part of the game. Unfortunately, there have been so many this year, but the NBA championship still counts. The teams still remaining have been playing so hard and they deserve all the credit they get. And for today's simulation, that's why we're turning off all the injuries and this postseason to simulate who's the winner.
I gotta be honest, I came to this video pretty apprehensive because I thought he was gonna just, discredit everybody that, were lucky enough to make it because of the injuries. But he didn't. He said some facts. And shout out to Halftime Production. This video was really good, and I loved seeing every, quote-unquote game on 2K simulated. And
oh, it's Ben Simmons on the
holy shit, did Ben Simmons just do a clutch shot in the Game 7 against Brooklyn? Wait. Hold up. If you guys want to watch the rest of that video, go check it out. It's on the description. And go check out this guy's channel. This guy's dope, man. This guy's hilarious. So like I was saying, in terms of hypotheticals that people pose, it's rarely a hypothetical that, goes against what they want to see. And I think that's the most insidious part of hypotheticals, because they're always posed with the frame of mind of having a narrative in mind and having a storyline that you want to play out. So you like, fantasy play, you have this role play, and you act it out, and it is what it is.
All right, let's just go for a quick summary of the injuries to just the star caliber players in this year's playoffs. Donovan Mitchell missed 1 game. Jaylen Brown missed the playoffs entirely. Mike Conley missed 5 games. Kawhi missed 8 games. Jamal Murray missed the entire playoffs. Anthony Davis missed a game and a half. Chris Paul missed 2 games, and he...
Holy shit, I had no idea that this many players had injury problems in that series. And during those playoffs, that's insane. Yeah, that's... I see why people do what ifs and, I see why people pose hypotheses on what would have happened if no injuries were to occur, and it makes sense. I'm not hating on anybody in the particular. It's just, it's interesting to me because injuries are part of the game, and it's like, it's nice to talk about it, but some people take it way too far, man. And fortunately, Rusty Buckets, he made a great video talking about the whole thing, and he summarized it in very key points that, I won't be able to summarize here because I'm just not as well spoken as he is.
So, like all the injuries that happened in this year's playoffs, things like this have happened before. Not probably to this extent, maybe once or twice, maybe. But even then, the fact that I don't know for sure that it's happened before says all you need to know about how history forgets context. People always remember the good, not the bad, which is a good thing, but that tends to be how it goes with sports and with the NBA through the years. Like, right now, fans are talking through the lens of just a large handful of what ifs, a lot more what ifs than normal, but at the end of the day, all these what ifs are just what ifs. It's not this is the case, it's just this could be the case. And at the end of the day, what is what is, not what you want it to be.
Bars. Shout out to myself for editing this video and cue the outro. Wait, what am I doing?